2023 has been an amazing year for GAC Motor. They started off the year releasing GS8 as well as the GAC Empow, and later on they even released the GAC Cool. Three cars which are really quite impressive. But now they release yet another car which could also be very impressive, which we'll take a look at today. This is the 2023 GAC GS3 Emzoom in the top-of-the-line R-style design. Today, let's just see how good this car is.
My name is Liong, an avid petrolhead and motoring journalist. My family keeps a large fleet of vehicles, and being the resident petrolhead, I am in charge of maintaining all of them. But one of my favorites is still the Toyota FJ Cruiser for its quirkiness, capabilities, and reputation of legendary reliability. Based on the Land Cruiser 120 platform, I am banking on the idea that it should be able to do over 1,000,000 kilometers despite facing the tough daily conditions of Philippine roads. So tough that it even wades through floods without breaking a sweat, except for one time where the dealer plates came off because of the flood. It has done about 50,000 kilometers so far, but I would definitely want it to go on much longer. But no matter the reputation of a vehicle, it will never reach 1,000,000 kilometers without good maintenance and without good engine oil being the lifeblood of any vehicle. That is why for the FJ Cruiser, I only choose the Motul 8100 Power. The Motul 8100 Power is a new line of fully synthetic engine oil released by Motul here in the Philippines that brings ester technology to your everyday vehicles. It is made for the discerning driver who values a smooth and reliable ride without compromising on protection, performance, and all of that. It promises top-line performance, protection, and reliability similar to Motul's 300V lineup. This helps you tackle the day-to-day tough conditions of Manila traffic and, well, traffic in the Philippines in general. I only choose the Motul 8100 Power for the Toyota FJ Cruiser to make sure that it can easily reach 1,000,000 kilometers. I choose the Motul 8100 Power to make sure that the FJ Cruiser lives up to its Land Cruiser-esque heritage. Now it's time for you to ensure your car also makes it to 1,000,000 kilometers. We're giving away 10 liters of Motul 8100 Power to one lucky winner. All you have to do is to like our Facebook page, Liong Cars, and send us a PM on what car you have and in which car you're gonna use it in. And also tell us how tough your daily drive is. We'll be announcing the winner on our Facebook page too on the last week of September 2023.
Originally, when they launched this vehicle, they said that they were going to release it with the GL trim as the top-of-the-line trim. But later on, they replaced that GL trim with this R-Style. So now officially, R-Style is the top-of-the-line trim. Anyway, this R-Style compared to the rest of the GS3 Emzoom lineup, it just looks so sporty, especially in this Salt Lake blue color. So the R-Style gives you a very aggressive front end. You even have some orange accents on it. And you even get like LED headlights, but they are down under by the bumper. On top, you only get VRLs. This car just looks very aggressive. You have so much heavy and sharp lines right here. Even over at the side of the vehicle, even your side mirror, look just how much shapes and creases it has. I also like that aside from having the blue and the orange, they also made use of a couple of like piano black or what they call black chrome. You even have like crystal effects on your side mirrors. And now for your rims, these are 19 inches. And I think that these 19 inches is probably class leading. This is crazy. And that's not the only thing. This even comes with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. That is just crazy, especially for a car of this price. Now moving here on the side of the vehicle, you can even see that it has the same door handles as its bigger brother, the Cool. They also pop out when you unlock the vehicle. On top, a little bit more orange accents for your roof rails. You even get a panoramic sunroof. And towards the rear quarter, there's even some extra lines right here. It just looks kind of weird though how it's somewhat like gray. It looks dirty. No, literally, it looks like this car needs a wash, but I've scrubbed these and I can assure you they look naturally like that. The sporty design continues towards the rear, and you have that same very sporty and very futuristic looking wing on the top, just like the M Cool. Also, you don't get a reverse wiper. I don't really understand why people clamor for that, but I can assure you don't really need it, because not only do you get reverse sensors, but you even get a reverse camera, and this car even comes with a 360 cam. Now, if you look at your tail lights, they also have that very futuristic design. And over here at the bottom, being the R style, you have a really nice sporty diffuser, and you even get some of that orange accents. For the exhausts, you get a twin exhaust system, and I did check, they are real pipes, but for some reason, the one on the passenger side seems to be closed. Now, this car also comes with a variable exhaust system, but even if I press that and activate that variable exhaust, it doesn't seem to make any sort of difference, nor does it open up that flap covering the passenger side tailpipe. Anyway, moving on, the tailgate, it's powered. Very nice for this class. And this is the biggest difference between the Emzoom, the GS3 Emzoom, and the GAC M Cool. You see, this car is a little bit smaller, so your cargo space, that is also a little bit smaller, but you can still fold down those rear seats 60/40, and you still do get a space saver spare tire inside. So if you have a car that looks sporty but it doesn't have the powertrain to back it up, that would be pretty sad. But thankfully, the GS3 Emzoom can indeed back it up. It shares the exact same powertrain as its bigger brother, the GAC M Cool, and even the sedan version, the GAC M Pow. This is the same 1.5-liter turbocharged gasoline engine, making 176 horsepower and 270 Newton meters of torque, paired to a 7-speed wet-type DCT. And for fuel economy, you can do a pretty respectable 6.9 kilometers per liter in super heavy EDSA rush hour traffic and 15 kilometers per liter on the highway. Moving inside, we check the door first. It's just about okay. Anyway, the interior of the GS3 Emzoom, you can get it in two colors. You can even have it with this blue and black combination. This is exclusive for the salt blue exterior, but if you get the other exterior colors, you can have this also in camel brown. So if you want a sportier version, you do have to get this salt blue color, but if you want something a little bit more relaxed, then just get any other color of the GS3 Emzoom R style. Anyway, moving back, so the steering wheel, this is exactly the same as what you would get with the M Pow and the M Cool, but the stitching is a little bit different. You get blue stitching on this one. You even have your buttons for your advanced driver assistance systems, and there's also that button to toggle your variable exhausts. But as we mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem to do anything. There's absolutely no change to the sound that the exhausts produce, whether or not you turn this on. You have a double screen setup. You have a 7 inches for your digital instrument cluster, and for your center touchscreen, you have it 10.25 inches big. And this touchscreen is super responsive, and you even get your 360 cam over here. You get wireless Apple CarPlay. Unfortunately, as with most GACs, you don't get Android Auto. Now, the annoying part about this screen right here is this is the only place that you can adjust your drive mode settings. For example, in the M Pow, you had a switch for that, but for this one, well, you do have to kind of dig through the menus just to get there. There is a shortcut, but it would remove your Apple CarPlay. So if you're using Waze and you wanted to change your drive modes, well then tough luck. Also, this R-Style trim is the only trim with Sport Plus mode. Together with that, you get launch control though, so that is a win. Now, moving further down below, you have a single zone climate control system, again very similar to the M Pow. You have a wireless charging pad, also exclusive for this R-Style trim, and your shifter, you have a crystal-like effect. Yeah, I do like that touch. Unfortunately, just like the M Cool, you don't get manual mode shifting. So if you want to drive this car downhill from Baguio, for example, and you want to use engine braking, well then tough luck. You can't do that. You don't even get paddle shifters to do that. That really is a flaw with these GACs. Moving on, the seats, pretty comfortable, nice bolsterings on the side. Also gets lots of that blue patterns, blue stitching, power adjustable for the driver side, manual for the passenger side. For other features, you get 6 speakers in this car, 6 airbags too, and your advanced driver assistance systems, including adaptive cruise control, TJA, you get autonomous emergency braking, you even get like a forward collision warning, and traffic sign recognition, lane keep assist, and lane departure warning. Now for the rear seats, first of all, ingress is pretty easy. Why? Because unlike other crossovers in this segment, The seats themselves are not too high, so if you have elderly relatives, they're not gonna have any issues coming in here. Children too, no worries because you get ISOFIX tethers. Anyways, now we check the door thud. Yeah, that sounds a bit better than front, but overall it's just about okay. Materials here at the back, they are pretty similar as the front. You get these padded materials by the side, but they also do remove the soft touch materials on the upper parts of the door. So these are all hard touch plastics, but don't worry, this car is pretty affordable. This is about par for its class. Now the seats, yes, as mentioned, it is pretty low, which ends up giving you a little bit more headroom. That is good. And knee room and leg room is also pretty good. In fact, when it comes to leg room, it's about the same as what you would get with an M-Cool. So despite having a smaller footprint compared to the M-Cool, space inside is still about the same. Now for the toys you get back here, well, this is where it gets kind of fortunate. I really don't understand why Chinese cars love doing this. You do get an air vent, but it's only one ginormous Cyclops air vent, but that is in fact better than none, right? And you also get just one USB-A port. Other storage compartments here include here on the side, you get map pockets on either sides of the seat backs, and you even have these cell phone pockets, which is pretty cool. Plus, you get a center armrest with 2 cup holders, and seating 3 people is very much doable because just like the M-Cool, it feels pretty wide. Finally, one thing I forgot to mention is that the Emzoom even comes with blue seat belts. So now we drive the GAC GS3 Emzoom, and this being the R style, the special feature is the launch control. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. So you put it in Sport Plus mode, you mash down the brake as well as the accelerator, and you just kind of let the revs build up a little and let go of the brakes. Okay, there is still a ton of turbo lag. It doesn't really get launch control that well, but really it is probably one of the fastest cars in its class. And putting this car in Sport Plus mode really makes it go quick. You can easily do extra legal speeds in this one, of course, as long as you have a private track, and you're gonna have tons of fun with this car. Now, the accelerator, honestly, I find it a little bit too sensitive for daily driving. Even if I put this car into comfort mode, and especially in sport mode, it just is a little bit too sensitive. But if you put it into eco mode, that's where you're able to kind of modulate it a little bit. Anyway, past the acceleration, your transmission, it is pretty good. You have that 7-speed DCT. As you're going fast, it's super responsive. It's really crisp, and it always knows which gear to put you in. But the problem with it is, well, as with most dual clutch transmissions, even if it's a wet type, it still is pretty jerky in low city speeds, especially when you are crawling this in stop and go traffic. But what you will like for your daily driving is the suspension inside the GS3. It's not the most comfortable car in its class. You really know that this is a little bit more sport tune, but it is more than comfortable enough to tackle the roads of Manila. Those Pilot Sport 4 tires from Michelin, they are really good. I really love those tires. They're amazing performance, amazing comfort. It really is the best tires that you can get. The steering inside the GS3 too, since it uses an electronic power assisted steering, well, you can expect that it is pretty numb. No matter which drive mode you put it in, it doesn't really tighten up in such a way that it feels very sporty. It still is a little bit loose, but again, it's a crossover. You don't really expect it to have the most dynamic type of drive. But at least for a car of its class, it's one of the more dynamic steering to hold. Handling to inside this car, well, it is pretty tall, right? So don't expect it to really handle in the same way as the GAC M-Pow would, but also again, for a crossover SUV, it is definitely one of the best. You still will have a little bit of body roll, but at least your tires, the sidewall, it doesn't really flex, so it gives you a little bit more confidence. But the GS3 Emzoom can't all be perfect, right? And definitely so. When it comes to noise, there does seem to be a significant amount of tire noise that does enter into the cabin when you're going at around 50 kilometers per hour. Some of the cars in this class, they would start to get noisy at around 80, but with this one, it gets noisy at around 50. But that is about to be expected because you do have these PS4s. They're a bit more sporty, they give you more traction, but the downside is it lets in a little bit more noise. For vibrations too, I love that GAC didn't decide to go for a 3-cylinder engine. Instead, they went for this 4-cylinder. So you can really barely feel any vibrations in this car when you're going at speed. But when you are idling, you get a very tiny amount of it. Nothing too bothersome, really. Visibility is also really good. You can see pretty much anything in front of you. On the sides, the pillars aren't too thick. And even though you don't have a rear windshield wiper, it's fine. Trust me, it's totally fine. You have your 360 cam and you even have reverse sensors to help you park this thing. Finally, let's talk about the advanced driver assistance systems inside the Emzoom. And on the highway, it is excellent. This car can practically drive itself already. You still do have to touch the steering wheel once in a while, but it can handle even sharper curves, which is something that I found the MPOW not do too well in. But the issue with this ADAS system is, number one, the lane departure warning and the lane keep assist system. It gets a little bit too sensitive. You see, and usually the cars that have that system, once you turn on your turn signals and you move to the other lane, as you already cross that first lane marking, it's going to be totally fine. But with the Emzoom, it wants you to completely cross over to the next lane before it will deactivate the function wherein it's going to fight you to keep you in the center of the lane. So you always have to make sure that you either turn off your lane keep assist if you want to drive a little bit more aggressively on the highway, or you simply just keep your turn signals on all the way until you reach the other lane. And the other annoying thing about it is that when you are in low city speeds, the MCOO did pretty well when it comes to your traffic jam assistance, when it comes to following the car in front of you. But with the Emzoom, first of all, it rarely recognizes lane markings at slow speed, so it can't really do the auto steering function. And secondly, you know how in like adaptive cruise control, you can usually select the distance from the car in front of you and you have it like low, medium, and high. For this one, it has it like 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I assume that's number of cars in between you, car lengths. And the minimum for this one is a car length. So when you are in EDSA, for example, there's just absolutely no way that you can use it even in the most minimum of settings unless you want someone cutting in front of you. Also, GAC claims that for this R-style version of the GS3 Emzoom, they have changed the tuning of your transmission, the gearing, to shave half a second off of your 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time. In the regular car, you can do it in 8 seconds, this one 7.5. I also haven't tested out the non-R-style version, so I can't really tell you if that half of a second really feels like a big change, but yes, that is their claims. Then next is the braking system too. They also claim that they've upgraded it to reduce your braking distance by 2 meters from 36 to I think 34 meters, and I also assume that this is from 100 kilometers per hour. So overall, this is not just an aesthetic upgrade, not just a features upgrade, but also a performance upgrade. So the GAC GS3 Emzoom R-Style is fascinating. It looks amazing, it drives amazing, it has a ton of features inside. And now you might think this car probably costs an arm and a leg. Well, no. This car right here costs 1,198,000 pesos. And I really think that this is currently the best car in its class. This car, in fact, has the potential to do what the Coolray did a couple of years back. And that is, in a way, to help reshape the thinking of Filipinos when it comes to Chinese vehicles. This car is proof that Chinese vehicles, not only have they come a long way, but they are simply amazing and amazing value vehicles.